Hello, stakeholders of Republic Bicycles. This report is to outline the proposed transition from our current brick and mortar sales process to a click and mortar model where customers will be able to build their own bikes. So, to begin, as we know, Danielle Bandit has taken over the family business and it started to run Republic Bicycles. She has created the following mandates that she would like to see the company follow. She wants to see an increase in sales. She wants to reduce the product cost, increase brand recognition, and finally, she wants to help the environment. She wants to see all of these taken forward as she runs the company. The first thing that Miss Bandit did when she joined the company was to attempt to isolate why sales had stagnated. Upon speaking with her suppliers, she realized that big name brands are selling similar models to Republic, meaning that larger companies with more infrastructure could sell almost the exact same product for less. Our issue was we lacked differentiation. She realized that we need to do something to set us apart. Because of this, she's developed this solution. Now, it's simple enough. We will abolish our current storefront model and change over to a click and mortar sales process. This online process will be built around three base models of bikes. However, the change is customers can determine what peripherals they want on the bike. They can build it completely to their own liking. This allows them this opens opportunities for Republic to sell into business fronts as well. We can customize our bikes and sell to resorts, governments, and so forth. These bikes are then delivered to the customers rather than taken from a storefront, which will reduce our need to hold large amounts of inventory. To frame our objective, we decided to put our solution into a SMART objective. So what we want is to create a pilot program and test our solution by the start of spring. The reason that we chose spring is obviously that's when our peak sales will happen. People will be using their bikes because the snow is all gone, and that's generally when you're able to use them. We'll be able to measure this by tracking to how far into the actual pilot launch we are internally. We also want to have a focus on public perception of our pilot and total sales revenue. We'll compare this to our old sales and we'll be able to measure based around that. Now, this is a very achievable goal as a pilot program doesn't need to be completely polished. It just needs to exist and show what the potential has. However, we need approval to be done very quickly because we are in a very strict timeline, and the sooner that this gets approved, the easier it will be and more achievable. It is relevant because the objectives is directly relevant to the new solution and solves a large portion of the mandate that Miss Bandit has made. It is timely because we want to have our IT. It's timely in the sense that we want to have everything done by the first day of spring, so March 20th. We want to have all of our IT services updated and ready for piloting by then. We've also created a SWOT analysis around this. I'm going to go through this kind of staggered, so strengths first, then weakness, then opportunities, then threats, just so everything is a good bad type of correlation. You might also notice that some parts of the SWOT analysis are underlined in bold. That is because they are related to the direct mandate from the new owner. So first I'll go with strengths. So cost reduction. This is obviously one of the mandates set out. This make-to-order process decreases the overhead costs of production. Due to this reduction, we only need to have 3 builds of bike. Therefore, our suppliers will only need to have 3 different types of set-out bikes. This means they have less creative needs and it's easier to produce bikes. The physical storefront, this model would most likely not require any sort of storefront for the bicycles. At most, they require a storage building with our administrative staff. This means that there's less overhead due to the fact that we don't actually need to have a physical location or presence, minus the obvious warehouses. Next is the IT infrastructure. We already have some IT services and a website. We can build our new solution around this and upgrade them. Next is weaknesses. So we do have pre-existing inventory. As we said before, a lot of this doesn't sell because people can find these very similar products for much cheaper. They would need to be disposed of or sold. However, we have to make sure that we do this in a very environmentally friendly way because one of our new approaches is we want to be environmentally friendly. So these assets need to be disposed of. That can be decided upon in the future. Next is decision making. Currently, there's a split of power dynamic. With a disruptive technology like this, we need to act very decisively. So that comes down to you guys, the stakeholders. We need you to be very decisive in either approving or denying this because we need to get into the market right away. With a technology like this, you need to get it done as soon as possible. Next are the opportunities. So environmental consciousness that Miss Bandit has made a mandate. So in order to make this model, there is minimal waste. All products should be purchased in theory because people will choose which model they want, they'll pay for it, and then that will just be shipped directly to them. So in theory, we shouldn't have any inventory left over, which aligns with the mandate to help the environment. Next, another opportunity is family owned. We can take advantage of the fact that we are family owned and local business to gain brand recognition. This would help us with this new model because people like to support local. People really, as it may be difficult due to the pricing, but we're reducing that. So we can play off of this to gain more brand recognition. Also, B2B sales, also known as business to business sales for those that don't know, is selling personalized bikes to other businesses. This can guarantee sales in the future as maintenance and replacements are required. So as these resorts and governments, they need to repair their bikes or their fleet of bikes that we've sold them are getting old, because that happens. We can use them as potential sales down the road and guaranteed sales. Finally, our threats. The external emulation of this model is something that we need to really be conscious of because a larger company could just get wind of what we're doing and create it before us. And because they have a better infrastructure, this means that they don't need to expand. Sorry, that means that we need to expand very quickly. Um, so we need to be very conscious of that. Next is demand. Since we are disruptive technology in bicycles, there could be uncertainty regarding the demand of this product and service. So we have looked into it a fair bit, but with all types of disruptive technologies, you cannot predict entirely what's going to happen. Next is the current and future state flows. So I have my mouse for this one. The one on the left is the current state, and I'll be going through that first. This is when we have an actual physical storefront. So the rounded off square is the start point. So there's the start. The customer needs to go to the actual bike store. Then the customer chooses one of the local stores. He happens to choose yours. Next, the customer arrives and browses this inventory, and then he has to ask themselves, is there a model that they like in stock? If no, then the customer leaves and searches elsewhere. We want to avoid that. If yes, then we check, is it in the price range of the customer? If it isn't, the customer leaves to go search elsewhere. If it is, then we go down here and does it have the desired features? If it does not, then the customer leaves to search elsewhere yet again. But if it has all three of these features, then it will go to the customer paying for the bike, and then the customer will leave the store. Now, the one on the right here is if we actually swapped it over to the IT services and online. So the customer starts, the customer researches local bike stores, the customer is made aware of the build your own bike model that we have. Customer goes to our website instead. Customer browses customization options, and then the customer creates their desired bike based on the options. Sorry, can they create the bike that they want based on the options? If they can't, then the customer seeks out another median. However, that's very unlikely based on the fact that our whole idea is trying to create an all-encompassing bike process. If they can, then can the customer afford the custom bike? No, if they cannot, the customer seeks out another medium. If they can, the customer chooses a payment method, the customer enters a shipping address, the product is then delivered in a timely manner. So something you might have noticed are there's three arrows that lead to the bad case on the left with the storefront, where there's only two on the right side that lead to the customer leaving. If we change this IT services, then we reduce the amount of uncertainty that the customer has, and it also allows us to circumvent this. So it provides us with a way to make the customer happier and make them more likely to purchase our product. Now to summarize the solution that we have. So to begin, it will serve to fill Miss Bandit's mandate. So she's the new owner of the company and she wants to see these mandates filled. This solution, it helps with just about every single one. Next, it should assist with stagnation of sales. The sales that what we're doing right now is not working and we need to adapt. That's a large thing that we've been seeing lately with all businesses. You need to either adapt to the modern ecosystem or you'll fail. This is the way in which we adapt. Next, it will differentiate Republic Bicycles. Um, we aren't able to fight large distributors because they have these massive infrastructures already if we keep going down the same route. If we change to this IT-based one, then we differentiate ourselves. We allow the customers to build bikes to whatever standards they want, and it allows us to fight back. Next, it reduces the costs on our front and makes us more environmentally sound. Because we're only making our distributors use 3 different bike layouts, it lowers the cost on their end, which means they can charge us a lower price. Next, because we have less inventory, we're going to be more environmentally sound, which also fills Miss Bandit's mandate. It simplifies the process for our customers. Customers, they don't like going through terrible processes. I mean, think about it. Has anyone enjoyed the process of going to buy a car? No, it takes forever. This simplifies the process for the customer and allows them to really, really enjoy what they're building. Finally, this needs to be approved as soon as possible. So, for all the stakeholders, I really hope that you consider this as quickly as you can and you approve this. I'd like to thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.